Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grindhouse Frostfront Trials. We have Sinners versus Vicinal. A bit of a change-up now. We have Mastermind, and we're going to be seeing Jason for Team Sinners on Killer versus Vicinal's Survivors. I am joined here by Georgie. I know Georgie had to take over and solo cast the last game because Discord was having some routing issues and it wasn't letting me speak. They were trying to silence my voice. Georgie, how are you doing, and are you excited for this game?
Great to be here. Thanks for bringing me in on it. We're starting off with a hit immediately on Degree Zero. Talk about two good teams though, Vicinal and Sinners. We see these teams play a lot. We've seen the history of them. They've proven themselves to be really good. I'm excited to see how they play on the Mastermind set with a little bit of a twist. We're used to seeing Cold Tower. Not too many orgs where I see the Sheltered Woods pick. I mean, I'm curious about how you think this goes. I think Shelter Woods, generally, it's not too favorable for Wesker. A good little double dash is going to come in here with a throw. This could be an instant down. Bronze is in a really bad spot here. He's not going to make that pallet with that throw. What a great play by Jason. But yeah, following back up, we're going to be finding another tag onto this Meg. And Slasher just going to be getting tagged for that. Jason going to be going back to his slug here. Bronzy down on the floor. What a crazy start for him. Yeah, Autumn. Yeah, okay, I was about to say this map is not it for Wesker with like all the weird rocks and weird collision. I mean, what do you think? Is this to be expected?
I wouldn't expect this many tags early on, for sure. But I don't think Wesker's bad on this map. Before the rework, he was played on this map, which obviously things have changed a lot since the rework. Now that we have main building in the middle and things like that, it has the same collision as Cold Tower would, but it does have more rocks, like you mentioned. But it does have more dead zone areas than Cold Tower does. So, and it's slightly bigger, obviously, because Cold Tower is so small. So I think there's multiple different trade-offs. I think overall it's probably worse for him than Cold Tower is. But bear in mind that the balancing's a little stricter on these survivors. Whereas in Cold Tower and most tourneys, you see things like Sprint Burst and Live and For the People and things like that. Wesker doesn't have to deal with perks like that. He's got like Smash Hit and Balanced Landing with no other exhaustions. And so the size of the map kind of shrinks a little bit when you take that into account. So that's kind of helpful for the killer. So I would expect similar results to Cold Tower, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, I'm curious to see how each team will play. We got a lot of Weskers and qualifiers. This is definitely the first of many. So we'll get to see how this map plays out quite a few times, which is very exciting for me to try something new like this and be able to see it played out multiple times. We do see second stage will be coming in pretty soon on Bronzy. There's second stage on the Bronzy, and Jason just coming down to the bottom of the map here. Gree0 still injured. They did reset Slasher, but all that means is there's going to be less gen pressure. They have one gen pop for this. This is a really good start for Jason. Just kind of controlling the map now. He knows where two survivors are. He knows only one of them can really be working on a gen. The other one has to rotate to another one. He finds the third survivor. He now has full map information, plus a survivor on hook, which is kind of the perfect position for a killer to sit in. Knowing where every survivor is, having a hook that he can defend, having gens near the hook with progress. This is kind of an ideal start for Jason. So I'm curious to see how these survivors will counteract this. They do seem to be pressuring this gen here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a survivor rotating in for the unhook now. But the survivors are going to have a bit of an uphill battle from here, as Bronzy is dead on hook very early on.
Yeah, Jason's got eruption on that gen, but it's not going to proc unless you get it down here. Slasher's really creeping in for this pull. You can see they've got that light-footed, so they're a little bit harder to detect. Jason's ready up, setting for this throw, but Slasher does make a good little mind game around the rock to get that pull and doesn't get thrown. And a good job and a good service to his team to get that pull through. Just going to leave the slug though and go for the tunnel out. The gen does pop without getting the eruption off in time. So great coordination from the survivor team there. Jason's got his got this chase at this jungle gym pallet. Might just break this, and yep, we'll have to see if this dead zone-y part of the map does come into play. Again, this map is a little bit less comfortable for the survivors in terms of resources, but a great mind game from Jason is going to get that down on a Bronzy, and this is a death at 3 gens. And look, it goes back to what we were seeing in the early game, where we got those 2 tags, and then we knew where everyone was. People were getting caught in the middle of rotations, and I feel like Jason just played insane good macro around his hooks, and we're leading to a death at 2 gens remaining, and another chase with another injury on the board.
Yeah, this is very ideal. I will note, Survivors popped 3 gens for the tunnel out, which, honestly, considering the start they had, is pretty impressive. I think they recovered that nicely. But unfortunately, they do still have 2 injuries on the board here. Greaser just now getting reset. We have G-Bot in chase. Does seem to have a decent amount of resources. We see another pallet down towards the bottom side of the map. You can still run Shack Window if you absolutely need to. So there's still some things around here. But that's only if you can make out of this tile. Still a pretty strong tile, but because of the ping difference, you can't really play the check spots on it. We trying to get the Pokos there, but not going to quite land it, although G-Bot is now kind of zoned over here towards the window. He needs to find some kind of opening here, but I don't think Jason's going to give it to him. Does fake out the window a little bit. It wins the 50-50, and now all he has to do is dodge this. If he can dodge it, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Just zoned a little bit towards the wrong side of the map here, and Jason going to be getting another hook. Not a pain res hook, though. Not getting the pain res. And so now we have GrindhouseDBD and Slasher, who are either pressuring gens or having someone rotate. With these gen splits, they could just be working those 2 far generators, but that would be so risky. We do see Slasher is going to be coming in for the pull. This is the safe option. This makes sense. And we do see GrindhouseDBD working on the center gen. I guess more towards the top middle is main building, but still a gen that's somewhat pressurable even from the hook. But it doesn't look like Jason's really going to go over there and look at it too much. We have Slasher here for pull. They're not trying to force this pull too early, though. But it looks like they're finding the right opening here. They're going to be able to get the pull for no tag, no trades involved, which is exactly what you're looking for on the Survivor side. So now they can pressure this main building gen so well since Chase is on the Shack side of that.
Yeah, Slasher's been so crucial in this team's success. He's just been on top of these hooks, stealthing around them, just kind of playing janitorial duty for them. And G-Bot is unfortunately in chase immediately, though. A good zone from Jason is going to lead to an immediate pallet break. And again, he's just zoned back to the corner of the map. This is Shelter Woods. We do want to see that gen pop. There it is. We were waiting for that. There's the pressure that we needed. No flashlight save coming through just yet. And I wonder if we're going to see Slasher already pre-set up for the pull as he usually is. You can tell this team really does not want to get caught in his rotations. That's so crucial in the 3v1, especially because if your unhooker gets found, then your one other guy has to get off the gen and come help, or you just can let them die on hook. And that is just so crucial for the 3v1. Jason, though, going to be opting to leave the hook, though. Wants a little bit more pressure. Going to get Eruption on this gen. I wonder if we're going to see him go back to hook. Yeah, we do. Jason does want this 2v1, but it might be a little bit of an uphill climb as there is only 1 gen remaining. You can't continue sacrificing these gens if you want a clean 4K result. A good prediction from Jason to guess the Jiggy away and does get a tag for that. That's an infection, and then every infection on Wesker adds to that reset time because you have to go grab those sprays. Jason doing a great job to recover this match. And the Survivors now off that start. Gonna have to find some way back into it. G-Bot's off hook, though. He's got a little bit of a chance to make some sort of decent tile. Got a 4-lane here. It might be a bit tough.
Yeah, he's making a bit of distance here now, running towards these filler pallets. I don't know how far he can really make it. This is only a 1 dash, though, so he actually is going to make this pallet. With Jason not going to be able to follow up on that. And now the Survivors could probably stack that gen, but there is Eruption on it, meaning that G-Bot's chase is pretty crucial right now. They have a lot of pressure on this chase right now, but he gets stuck on the tree, and I don't think he's going to make it around because of the ping difference. Yeah, he can't even vault that, or it's going to be a hit. And we do still have pain res in play here, something to note. Jason saved it exactly for this moment, probably getting this pain res now to stop the double from popping. And yeah, we see both Survivors over there with the Eruption from earlier, and now we have 1 injury, so all Jason has to do is find Slasher, down him, slug him, and go for Gree. So the Survivors have to find some kind of way to hide Slasher, which is what they're trying to do, going edge map. And for people who aren't super confident in game sense and things like this, this might seem like a really bad play, but it is quite literally their only play. This is all they can do, and since Jason found it, it puts them in such a bad spot now that he gets the down. But despite how like goofy that couldn't look, that is quite literally all they could do, because if Slasher just runs to a resource, Jason can just commit chase and win the game off that. So they have to hide. And while they're injured, there's really nowhere they can hide, so they have to try edge map. So it didn't end up working out for them, but if it did, then that would have been the only thing that they could do. So Jason now slugging. Now Gree is just going to be stealthing. Ideally, you want to try to pick up Slasher here and then work gens, but in a 2v1, it's going to be so hard. For the Survivors, though, they have a lot of places they can hide. There's so many rocks. The map is relatively large. So there's still a bit of recovery here. But if we Jason spots Grease 0, then the survivors are probably going to be put in a rough spot. So we see we Jason just kind of looking around from the hill, trying to see if he can find any rotations. Grease 0 doing a good job hiding probably behind trees and rocks, since there's so many on this map. Jason just struggling to find him right now, and making his way over to this top left corner. Going to be picking up his slug now, just going to be committing to it. This is a fresh hook, so he still has 70 seconds before second hook to find, plus kill timer, and yeah, so he should be fine here, still in this position. All the survivors can really hope for at this point is playing for hatch or a gate. I'm curious how the gate splits will be, because they can be kind of weird sometimes, and if there's a gate that spawns really far away from hatch, they might potentially get the out.
Yeah, we've seen that on Cold Tower. You know, if you get that lucky gate spawn behind the main building, this map is also just barely big enough, and yeah, we see that gate over there in that bottom right corner. So if, well, I hold my tongue. I was thinking maybe Greaser was going to choose to let them die and play for it, but Greaser actually opts to get that hook. Funny how, you know, you talk about novice DBD. It's all about hide and seek and running from the killer. You know, think about your first 10 hours in the game when you're scared and you're hiding behind a rock. Now we see in comp hiding behind rocks. But
It's so important. Yeah, I mean,
it is. Stealth is important.
When you get better at this game, before you're like involved in the comp scene, I remember when I was getting better at the game, everything was just running into the killer's face. You know, be the toxic survivor, click the flashlight, have a good chase, like carry your team with 5-gen chases. That's just not how it is in comp. When you kind of grow out of that mindset and start playing comp, you realize like you're not going to have that 5-gen chase. You're not going to be able to carry your team like that. The killers are so good here. You need to hide sometimes. It's just so important to play around stealthing, which is really nice to see. We did see the unhook come in, so that's basically just going to speed up the amount of time and give Grease 0 essentially more stealth time, but it doesn't even seem like we Jason really
not too concerned, is
wants
he?
to look for him. Yeah, he just wants to play for the hatch now. So Flasher probably just going to be dying on hook here. We Jason's going to close hatch, and then it's really going to be up to the gate game. Whether we Jason can pressure these gates, whether he can spot out a survivor trying to no-light them. Now, with the way the point system works, the first win condition is generators completed. So this escape, while it still can matter, if the survivors on center can pop 5 gens, even if the Greaser does get out through the gate, centers would still win the set. But if for some reason they get down to 1 generator and get 4K'd, then this escape's going to mean a lot, because that is the tiebreaker. So regardless of how important this escape might be, it can really make a difference later on. And Grease 0 now, waiting at the gate far away from Shack, probably going to do a bit of a no-light here, trying to get this. And again, we mentioned it before, there are so many rocks, there are so many trees. It is a very possible situation that he can no-light this and stealth behind a rock or a tree. He does get off a
He's
bit
doing it
early. Yeah, he's playing for it, though. As we Jason just looking, doesn't even see him. But these gates are not the worst, honestly. This one rock here does make this a little awkward. He has to go into the tile to see it, but I think he'll probably find a nice vantage point from above the tile here. I think he might have spotted something. No, he's just trying to get there faster and check. Oh, no, he did. Grease 0 realizing he moved a little bit too soon. Wasn't exactly sure how fast he was able to check both gates. Does get found there trying to blend in with the gate. And looks like Grease 0 trying to do some funky pathing. That's going to be the no-head coming in. And that is going to be the 4K1 for we Jason for Sinners. And so now Vicinal gonna have to 4K1 if they want to tie this. Ties are still pretty good in the qualifiers here, as they are it's better than getting no points. So still something you're looking for, but I mean 4K2 is still possible. You never know, things happen. Regardless of the map, things still happen. So Vicinal's killer gonna have a bit of a rough time here trying to meet this condition, but as we could see here, it is definitely possible to get good results on this map. So we'll be back in a little bit to see if Vicinal's able to match this or better. So we'll see you guys soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grindhouse Frostfront Trials, and we have Gbot now on the killer. For Team Vicinal, Shelter Woods, Mastermind, and we had we Jason last round get a 4K1. So Gbot's got to get that 4K1 to tie or the 4K2 to win. You know the drill by this point. Everything here is a best of 1. We do see a very early tag here onto Vinny. Vinny throwing this pallet immediately, making his way down to main building. It is worth noting that both of these teams are playing on quite a high amount of ping since it's NA to SA. So the ping is definitely going to be higher here, so the survivors are going to be playing a lot safer, dropping pods a lot earlier, taking a lot more distance, not playing as many check spots. Gbot, though, catching up so quickly to Vinny. Vinny having to play this hook. That's going to be a 1-dash for Gbot. Now at this God Filler, Gbot trying to get around. Might get the swing. No, he doesn't get it, actually. That's just going to be the pile drop coming down for Vinny. Gbot, though, trying to mind game this since it is on ping. He thinks he can get away with it, but Vinny, once again, not playing the check spots, just playing around for distance, running onto the other side of the rock. Now Gbot trying to zone towards the edge of the map here. We'll see if Vinny can make it over to this tile. This is a very strong tile. Gbot getting around this corner here.
Oh, this will be a guess.
Yeah, I think Vinny's just sending it, not even going straight for the pallet either, just making sure he doesn't get put in a straight line.
Wow.
The Mastermind going around this wall here. Vinny, excellent pathing, making his way back into the tile now, throwing the pallet. Gbot forced to break it, now getting zoned towards the resources that were already used, and the second dash coming up for Gbot. Gbot should be able to catch up here and get the down. But misses it, running towards the edge of the map here. That's just a little bit of extra time waste. Gbot going for the swing, does land the swing through the windows and get the down onto Vinny, but we did see a gen popping partway through the chase. Gbot finding the survivor here on the edge of the map, and now going for the first hook of the game. This is quite the dominant start for Sinners, coming in with the 4K1 from the Mastermind, and now going straight into a chase that essentially popped close to 2 generators. I do see the pain risk coming in. Georgie, what do you think Gbot has to do right now in this situation? Do you think Gbot has any control over what's happening right now, or do you think that it's kind of up to the survivors to make some mistakes right now for Gbot to be able to recover?
You know, when it comes to comp DVD, Autumn, I think so much of the matches are pretty much done and dusted over the start. You know, that start right there where even though you're using quite a lot of resources, just making that last for that first gen pop, getting that gen that's done in the middle, Gbot over here going to stop this from popping and get some pressure on it. It really does make a difference, though, especially with Gbot without not having another... Look at his build. He doesn't have a second regression. You know, you don't expect to come into this with a 4K2 requirement. But it onto Jake is going to get him to play this final gem. Yeah, I think Gbot has got to... The survivors have to make a mistake at this point. And you see Gbot is being really aggressive here. He cannot just sit there and hold that hook and expect to win. But gets a quick chase onto Jake. So if these chases are quick, might be able to come back. But for now, I've got to see more.
Yeah, it is worth noting. You say he doesn't have a second regression perk, and that's true. It's going to help the survivors quite a lot here. They don't have to deal with an eruption or a pop or something like that. But what Gbot does have in his back pocket here is agitation, and I think people very much underestimate the amount of pressure you get from agitation. I mean, just reading the perk description, you're like, what, I move faster when I'm hooking someone? Like, that's not regression. That's not going to slow these survivors down. If Gbot hooks someone on an active generator, that generator will slowly lose the progress if he kicks it, and if the survivors can't pressure it, the gen's not going to pop for a long time. And that is maybe not regression, but it's definitely stall. Like, that will stall the survivors out. We do see Gbot trying to get a quick 2-tap here onto Jason. These chases coming in pretty fast now for Gbot. Now, playing in a 4v1 the whole time is an uphill battle for the killer, but getting consistent downs is really important, and if Gbot can keep landing these consistent downs, he might actually be able to meet the Tycon. Especially with these pain rose hooks, and he probably can make a pain rose hook whenever he wants to with agitation. Getting another hook here. It is a pain res. Seeing the scratch marks over here, they did get the reset. The survivors working very, very efficiently, getting gens done, getting resets off, and it doesn't feel like they're really slowing down too much. We do see the really fast unhook here. They know that Gbot's not playing around these hooks. They know they can just set up for a quick unhook and then just reset, jump on the gens instantly. This is exactly what you need to do. Figure out how the killer plays and counter. Gbot, though, like, just not playing territorial around the hook at all. Hook, leave, go for another chase. So the survivors are going for unhook, heal, go for another gen. Essentially doing the same thing, but on the survivor side. You see the spray coming in. Gbot does have a bit of information on where a few survivors are now. 2 injuries, though, so if Gbot can find out an injured survivor here, he might be able to do something. And the resources are slowly going away, little by little. And there are a few dead zones on Shelter Woods. Usually one is on. This is a pain res. This is important because Vinny wasn't pain res earlier, and not going to get the hit through the pallet. Vinny greeting it just a little bit more, knowing the distance needed between these cross pings things. Getting the stun here, we see the forehead stun here, and Gbot going to be dropping chase once again, not getting a tag onto Vinny. Now making his way over to these generators. We do see some decent progress on this gen. Gustavo making his way over to this area, but there are no resources here. This is where the first chase happens, so Gustavo is going to be taking this window vault, taking as much distance as he can, wasting as much time as he can, and Gbot just needs to get another down, get another pain res, and keep the pressure rolling, but it seems like Sinners has actually done a good job staggering and slowing down Gbot's pressure. Doing a bit of a run here, trying to make it to another resource, and Gbot gonna have to drop chase again and go for this survivor who is fully infected. So this could be a quick down for Gbot, and this is exactly what he needs in this moment.
No.
And the mind game happens, and can he land this? It looks like just gonna jump in the locker, waste a bit more time, does hop out, doesn't get the grab, and they actually managed to get away with just forcing an injury, which, while it isn't going to save his life, it is going to waste some time. Although Gbot missing the dash here, maybe a bit of nerves, but does end up landing the down here. So just a little bit of extra time waste, but that does all add up.
Yeah, what a great movement from Jason there. You know, normally you think, okay, well, I'm found, I'm fully infected, but Jason somehow finds a way to get out of that. Another gen does pop in the meantime, and you know, you were completely right on about agitation. You hook on an active gen, that can be your key to victory here. And I really don't see what else Gbot can do. I mean, you've opted to go for this very aggressive play style where you're going for multiple pain reses, going for multiple freshes, but it's just not viable unless you've got that pressure. And these survivors on Team Sinners have just done such a good job of spreading out these hook states, making sure no one's dead, and the chases are starting to last now to where it's a little bit uncomfortable for Gbot. It's a little bit difficult to get these downs. That said, Nia is an optional pain res for Gbot. If he's able to get a quick down, good pathing from her is going to get her to the mid-map with this nice pre-dropped filler. And a hit will be coming in soon, most likely. A good mind game from Gbot's going to get that ramped right up. That's going to be a pain res, but there was a lot of progress on that gen. I'm wondering if they're going to opt to bomb it and see if they can get it done in time. Another gen pops, so there's so much more gen pressure on the board than we expected. Second stage onto Vinny. And now Gbot is in a rough spot.
Ooh, the last generator popping too, so that is going to be the win comment for Sinners. Really good job pressuring this last couple of gens. Gbot does have Noed, as I've mentioned in the previous game, but it is worth noting, probably each game for people who are coming in. Builds are preset, so Gbot decided to bring Noed before knowing how his survivors were going to do. So while it might seem like a waste on a 4K1 win con, this is how it would happen. It's forced so that you can't get away with just picking up Noed because your team has an easy win con or something like that, and having that advantage because you're going second is trying to prevent that. So Gbot essentially was playing with one less perk for this whole game. Does get another hook here though. Just trying to get as many stages as possible. That's going to be the 7-stage game if the survivors just choose to leave, which they might, because you know they've already met WinCon. But you know, survivors, they like to put on a good show sometimes. So we'll see if they go for this unhook or not. They might be resetting Vinny. Nah, it looks like they're just going to take their WinCon. So that's going to be the win for Sinners. They're going to be taking the 3 points from this round, but this is far from the last game we have today, so if you guys are enjoying, you should stick around and watch some more games. We've got another matchup coming up soon, and we will see you guys in a bit.